Thank you, Cedric, for having me today. Hi everyone, my name is Or Oi Ching. I'm glad to share my story with you today.
Let's dive right in. To start, let's talk about your first steps into the world of conservation. What was your first job in this field, and how did that experience shape your career moving forward?
My first job in conservation world actually when I was employed by Traffic, a wildlife monitoring network. So what we do is I was exposed to the conservation part of flora and fauna in Southeast Asia, and my work actually shaped me into recognizing the importance of protecting all the species that we have in Malaysia. During my employment with Traffic, I was tasked to monitor the illegal trades of wildlife, especially involving the animals that we have in the Belum Temenggong Forest Complex in Perak. And at the same time, I also was exposed to the international trades in wildlife, including elephants, tigers, pangolins, and a few other species. So this is where I cultivated the interest in trying to do more in the conservation for our own animals. I also would like to put a credit before my employment with Traffic. I was given opportunity to learn about our forest during my internship with Dr. Tiga Kingston in Krau Wildlife Reserve in Pahang.
Very nice. Certainly that first job brought you insights into the wildlife traffic and trade and inspired you to continue on this career.
Yes.
So many conservationists have personal stories and experience that led them on this path. What sparked your interest in wildlife conservation? What inspired you to focus specifically on elephants?
Well, I like a lot of animals. In terms of the elephants, I will link it back to my experience that I gained over 8 years in Traffic. At that time, I was appointed to do market survey in Southeast Asia countries, and what we do is one of the items that we look at is the traits in elephants, regardless of African elephants or Asian elephants. But we look at what are the body parts that have been traded, like ivory, elephant hairs, the tails, the skins. So these are the things that actually emotionally affecting me also by when we look at the body parts, mean the animal is no longer alive. So when the opportunity arises for me to do something for animals that are still alive, I think I take that on. That's why I am now here with you all.
Very nice. Okay. Lovely story.
Understanding. We counted so many ivories that time.
Those ivories certainly are indicative of lots of animals dying for it. Yes. And you've been working in conservation for almost a decade right now, and as we know, can be incredibly a challenging job. So what is it that keeps you motivated to continue working on this?
The main thing that motivates me is my own feelings about what I can do to help these animals, because they have no voice. What they can do is we have to learn about them and give back what we learn in hope that it can actually help them. In terms of conservation, either we do research or we try to stop the traits in the animal itself, or we try to advocate for a better conservation of the species itself.
Such noble motivations, wanting to contribute back in your own way. So let's talk about your current research. I understand that you have been with MIM. Can you maybe explain your work on the population and distribution of Asian elephants in Peninsular Malaysia?
Yeah, sure. So my research itself covers three main things. One is we try to look into the population status of elephant in one particular landscape in Kedah. We call it Greater Ulu Muda Forest Complex. This is where we know there are elephants, but we do not know how many of them. So part of my study is to find out how many elephants we have there. And second is we try to prioritize the area for elephant conservations, looking at their habitat use in other forest complexes, which is like the some of the remaining forest complexes in Hulu Perak and also in Kedah.
Wow, I've been there myself. It's an amazing forest
Yes,
complex.
amazing.
Yeah, and you can see the feces of the elephants from there, and it does indicate it has a healthy population, and your work does contribute to the protection of this forest in this for prime habitat for elephants. So now let's researching such large and elusive animals must come with its own set of challenges. Can you perhaps describe the methods that you use to gather on elephant population and how this data supports the broader conservation efforts?
There are a few methods that I use across the different objectives. So for populations, we are trying to look into the DNA of the DNA material from the elephants by collecting the dung samples containing DNA materials and use it to identify individual elephants. The project was done in cooperation with Wildlife Department and also Wehan, another of my research associates.
And so getting the DNA samples from these feces, what do the feces have to be like?
Yeah, so one of the things that we found out is like the feces have to be very fresh in order for you to get a very good quality DNA. Fresh in terms that it was just defecated by elephants and not affected by the environmental elements. Yeah, and that is actually main challenges in this study.
Yeah.
Because it's actually very hard to get a very fresh dung in the forest. Yeah.
Who wouldn't want a fresh dung, right? Yeah. Human-elephant conflict, a situation in which humans and elephants live side by side but experience issues themselves, is a growing issue in Malaysia.
Yeah.
How do you see your research contributing to helping to mitigate this conflict?
So HEC human-elephant conflicts actually is a very broad topic. So in terms of my research, what I see is my research finding actually help to identify area where we should prioritize. Where should we protect the animals and what should be done? And one of the objectives that I'm doing is I look into how viable our elephants are from the Ulu Muda and what are the factors that are affecting elephants. So HEC, in my view, is one of the reasons that is contributing to how our elephants will be viable for a long time.
Yes, indeed. I think this is a factor that needs to be considered when predicting how survivable the population is. So finally, for the young people out there who are passionate about conservation, wildlife specifically, what advice would you give to these people waiting to pursue a career in this field?
I have a lot to say, but the most important thing is I think once you set your mind and you have the feelings to do it, you can try, pursue it, and if you think it's something really that you enjoy doing it, please do consider to be part of the conservation team.
Indeed, passion, endurance, and the tenacity to pursue this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Oi Ching.
Thank you for having me.
So thank you very much, Oi Ching, for sharing your inspiring journey and this incredible work you are doing to protect Malaysia's elephants. It's been a pleasure learning from you today, and I'm sure our listeners feel the same way too. For anyone interested in supporting elephant conservation, be sure to check out the work of MIM and see how you can get involved. Thank you again, and we wish you all the best with your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.